Hi! In this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply in Excel. I'll show you two ways to multiply and a few things to be aware of when working with the results. Let's start with the most common method, which uses the asterisk. That's the star symbol above the 8 on most keyboards, accessed by holding down the Shift key. In the cell where you would like the result, simply type an equal sign. Then select the first cell you would like to multiply. In my case, it's going to be B2. I add my asterisk. Then I select the second cell, which should be included in my multiplication. In my case, C2. And then I just press enter. And that's my multiplication done. If you would like to copy the formula down the column, that's easy to do. You can simply double click on the green box and the formula should fill down. Or alternatively, if you perhaps only want the formula to apply to a few cells, simply click on the green box and drag it down the rows. If your data is in a table, you may see column names referenced when you do your multiplication. And that's fine. It's just another way Excel references this cell. You may also find that Excel has auto-filled the formula down the column. If you would like to multiply more than two cells, one way to do this is to just keep adding asterisks and selecting the relevant cell. However, in this scenario, it's often preferable to use the second method of multiplying, and I'll demonstrate that next. The second method uses the product function, which works in a similar way to sum, but for multiplication. So to use it, I simply type equals product, open brackets, select the first cell I would like in the multiplication, which in my case is B2, add a colon, then select the last cell in the range that I would like to be multiplied, which in my case is D2, close my brackets and press return. So if you have a row of values you would like to multiply together, product is a tidier way to do that rather than chaining asterisks. A point to note with product is that if you add a new column and add information to it, the product formula will automatically update to add the new column into the range. However, this does not apply when you use asterisks. If I add an extra column in here, the formula is not impacted. So these are just a few points to be aware of when using multiplication in your calculations. One thing to be aware of when multiplying is that you can end up with more decimal places in your result than you want to display. For example, here I have multiplied width by height by depth to get the volume, and then I can use the increase decimal to add more decimal points to the result, or the decrease button to decrease the number of decimal places that is displayed. However, it is important to understand that this only changes how the number is displayed. The underlying value stored in this cell remains the full number with all its decimal places. And to show you what I mean, if I take this cell, which I just adjusted the decimal places on, and do copy, and then if I paste it, using paste special, so just the values, you can see the full value that Excel is still storing for use in any calculations, not the rounded version visible on the screen. And this is a common reason why a total in Excel can differ slightly from that which you'd get if you type the same rounded figures into a calculator. Excel is still working with the full precision behind the scenes. And if you require the stored value itself to be rounded, rather than just the display, you can use the round function. So I simply type here equals round, open brackets. Then I can do my calculation as before. After my calculation, I add a comma. Then I insert the number of decimal points I would like it to store, which is 2, and then close my brackets and press return. And now if I do the same, where I copy this value and do paste special with just the values, the value is now stored at 2 decimal places, and that is what is used in any future calculations. So just one thing to watch out for. Multiplication can also be combined with other operations like addition, subtraction and division. Check out my BODFAS video in the description for how to do that correctly, as the order of calculation matters. Multiplication can also be carried out across multiple spreadsheet tabs. So for example, you could multiply a value on one sheet by a value in another, and I cover how to do that in my cross-sheet referencing video, again linked below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, have a look at the other Excel videos on this channel and subscribe for more Excel videos. Thank you for watching.